Namaste. Welcome to this episode of So Many Cooks in the Kitchen. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, and thanks to Cody for that amazing fajita presentation. Now we're going to be making onion pakoris today. Pakodi is a street food from India and it's very popular and it's typically deep fried. But today we're going to make a heart healthy version, a really healthy version loaded with vegetables as well and onions. So come join me. Let's begin making this together. We'll begin by taking about half a cup of chickpea flour. This is easily available in American grocery stores, but most definitely in Indian grocery stores. We buy chickpea flour by the big bags, about 8 pounds at a time, because we make some of these dishes quite often, and chickpea flour is pretty versatile to make so many other dishes like omelets and egg-free omelets and things like that. I'm adding to this about half a teaspoon of red chili powder, and if you don't like it so spicy, you can of course skip it or add very little of it. These are carom seeds. I'm going to add these to the chickpea flour batter as well. This is a special seeds that are available only in the Indian grocery stores. They've not made it to the American grocery stores as yet. They typically are combined with chickpea flour just to aid in digestion, and they impart an amazing flavor. If you know the flavor of licorice, it's kind of similar to that, not quite exactly, but somewhere along that flavor profile. And I have half a teaspoon of salt, which I'm going to add to this chickpea batter. Bring it all together and make sure that all these spices are well combined. And now we'll be adding our star ingredients, which is the onions. And they have been cut into slivers and thin and long strips. And they're all separated. So add about half a large onion to this chickpea batter, and then we will be adding half a cup of finely chopped kale or spinach or collard greens, anything you have around the house. This makes it really healthy to add all these greens as well. And we love cilantro in our pakoris. Typically these pakoris have lots of cilantro, so I've added about half a cup to 1/3 cup of cilantro here. And then just to add a tad bit of color, I'm adding these carrots. But this is pretty versatile. I grated about half a carrot here, but it's pretty versatile, this recipe. You can really add any number of vegetables you want. You can add red bell pepper for flavor and taste. It adds a nice sweet flavor to the pakodi, and also gives out a little bit of more water than these vegetables. So feel free to customize it. You can add green bell pepper or any other colored peppers as well. We love it spicy, so we're going to be adding chopped jalapeno. Adjust this to taste, of course. If you don't like it spicy, you can totally skip it, and if you like it more spicy, you can add more, or you can add spicier versions like a serrano pepper or any one of these. Now we'll be combining this well. If there was a little bit of water in the greens, it would come together on its own, or if you let it sit even sometimes for about 10 minutes, it will come together on its own nicely. But since this one I've chopped up and kept for about half an hour, the vegetables are a little dry, so I'm going to spray just a couple of sprayfuls of water. This would probably amount to about half a tablespoon of water at a time. So spray, mix, that's the methodology you would follow, just to get it slightly damp and so that it all comes together. So I'm going to be spraying just a couple of times so that it absorbs all the dry chickpea flour, comes together really well. And then if you let it sit for just a couple of minutes, it makes for really nice clusters of pakoris. So like I mentioned, typically these are deep fried in oil, and as we all know, oil is not heart healthy, and neither is it good for children. So I've been cooking without oil maybe now for over 8 to 10 years almost. So these are street foods that are favorite snack items that are available in India very easily. Come evening, It's an evening snack typically had with hot chai. As you all know, you probably tasted, this spiced up version of our chai. And this typically goes really well with that. So let's begin assembly. It has come together really well, and it's just should come together in clumps. Doesn't have to be too wet. The more wet it is, the less crispy it'll be. So make sure you don't add too much water. I have the silicone sheet and a tray that is lined inside a tray that's ready for baking. So what I'll do is gather these clusters to make them, make these pakodi clusters, onion pakodas, so they'll all come together really well once they're baked. So take like spoonfuls of these and lay them out. This amount of batter makes about 12 pakodis. And if you find that it's a little too dry, you can also just, dampen them a little bit so they all come together really well. So we'll be laying out all of this onto this tray and putting it in the oven at about 375 in an air fryer for about 6 to 7 minutes, not more. Keep an eye on it. Different ovens have different temperature. So this goes into the oven, and I have a tray that's already made that I'm going to grab for you and bring to the forefront here so you can see. So this is how these pakodis looks like once they're all done. And typically you don't have to flip them, but don't make them too thick or too dense. It's nice to have a few loose pocket holes in between so that it has enough air circulation and makes it a lot more crispy. Okay, so let's give it a taste test and see how well these have turned out. So I'm going to take one of these and try and taste them. They are so flavorful, and they are such a healthy version. Make this often, make this your family favorite, and the onions impart such a wonderful flavor to this. Make it with lots of vegetables and try it often. Now that we're all done here with these onion pakodas, over on to Suzanne, who's going to be making onion rings. Thank you so much.